Hey gang, gather around the metaphorical campfire though. Please imagine it's scented, because tonight we're trudging through the gloriously grimy streets of medieval hygiene. Spoiler. It's less spa day and more who needs a loofah when you have hope. Still, our ancestors weren't total dirt goblins. They had routines, hacks, and enough rose water to drown a bishop. Let's lift the latch on the bathhouse door and inhale that distinct aroma. 1. Soap opera. 12th century edition medieval soap makers were basically chaotic chemists with zero OSHA oversight. Picture a cauldron bubbling with wood ash lye, chunks of sheep fat, maybe a heroic dash of lavender if they were feeling bougie. Stir until your eyebrows smoke, pour into a wooden mold, age it for a month, then pray it doesn't peel skin like overzealous dragonfire. Result: a beige brick that smelled halfway between Sunday roast and candle wax, but by heaven it lathered. Castile soap, imported from Muslim-ruled Spain, was the medieval influencer product. Olive oil base, silky suds, price tag that could finance a minor crusade. Drop it at bath time, and everyone knows you're above smelling like turnips. Meanwhile, peasants rubbed with homebrew tallow soap that left you moisturized in the same way bacon grease hydrates a frying pan. 2. Bathhouses, where clean meets controversy cities loved a communal soak. London had public stews, Paris boasted balnea on nearly every street, and German towns combined beer gardens with bathtubs because efficiency. These places ran on 3 pillars: steaming water, spicy gossip, and clergy side-eye. Step inside. First room's a changing area. Hand the keeper a coin, strip down, and tiptoe across slippery planks into a cedar tub the size of a wine barrel, often shared with strangers, who may or may not be silently judging your mole constellation. Water's heated by fire beneath copper kettles and ladled in until steam fogs the rafters. Now, the fun bits. Scrubbers freelance attendants armed with linen mitts and relentless optimism. Refreshments: mulled wine, ale, spiced figs. Goes nothing says detox like day drinking and soup made of humans. Moral guardians: bishops who issued edicts every time the tubs got too frisky. Which is to say, often. Bathhouse nights blurred lines between hygiene and social club. You left cleaner, lighter of purse, and full of rumors about who dunked with whom. 3. Home bathing. The portable pond if you were wealthy and privacy inclined. Servants hauled a wooden tub into your solar. Step 1. Heat water in iron cauldrons until the kitchen resembles a dragon's nostril. Step 2. Lug pails upstairs, splash into the tub, and keep adding until your toes float. Candles flicker, dogs sniff curiously, wind whips through unglazed windows, and your bathwater cools faster than a knight's courtesy after sunset. Better scrub quick. Reality check for commoners. Baths often meant wading in the river or filling a washtub big enough for one cheek at a time. Seasonal bathing was a thing. Easter cleanse, harvest soak, Christmas splash, plus emergency dunking when lice acquired diplomatic immunity. 4. Water quality. Between holy and horrid medieval cities fought perpetual turf wars with their water sources. Wells were status symbols. Springs were borderline sacred. Rivers were simultaneously laundry machines, fish suppliers, and open sewers. Londoners drank the Thames, Parisians quaffed the Seine, and PayPal bulls occasionally urged people to stop dumping corpses upstream. Results were mixed. Boiling water could make it safer, but firewood cost coin and labor. Many folks went with the medieval wellness mantra: if the Lord wills it, the microbes will stay polite. Sometimes he apparently willed otherwise. 5. Sweat management, perfume, powders, and plausible deniability. When scrubbing access was limited, medieval noses pivoted to camouflage. Enter herbal sachets, bundles of thyme, rosemary, crushed clove, maybe a desperately optimistic violet. Stitch one into your cloak and pretend the stench cloud 4 feet around you is earthy. Upper crust wardrobes included Pomander's metal orbs packed with musk, civet, ambergris, and zest. Clip one to your belt, and you've got early adopter portable deodorant. Downside: if you swing too enthusiastically, you've weaponized citrus-scented shrapnel. Talc-like body powders were another hack. A dusting of orris root or ground rose petals over linen undergarments, wicked sweat. Moderated friction, and made you sneeze like a crossbow misfire. 6. Hair care hijinks shampoo. Trilye soap or fermented rye flour paste. Conditioners? Honey, egg yolk, and beer rinses. Delousing rituals doubled as sibling bonding. Sit by the hearth, part hair with a bone comb, flick pests into the flames, debate theology. Fashionable ladies sometimes washed hair in chamomile tea for golden highlights bonus glow, if you then sunbasked for an afternoon like a contented cat. Brunette envy led to walnut husk dye baths, turning tresses mahogany and bathroom floors suspiciously brown. 7. Dental daredevils. Toothpaste tubes were centuries away, but tooth powder bowls thrived. Recipes: burnt breadcrumbs, crushed mint, ground oyster shell for grit. Dip a frayed twig into the mix, scrub molars, rinse with wine because alcohol kills germs and dignity simultaneously. Bad breath solutions included chewing parsley, anise seeds, or if you fancied, wormwood sprigs. Given limited sugar in diets, cavities happened less than you'd think, but when they did, medieval dentists specialized in extraction via pliers and prayer. 8. Laundry approximately equals external bathing underwear, linen, chemises, and breisgott laundered weekly if possible. Soap lye, river water, and furious beating with paddles on flat stones removed sweat, oil, and existential dread. Eider wool clothes were rarely submerged. Instead, they were brushed, aired, and occasionally sprinkled with rosemary to mask sheep aromatics. 9. Saunas, sweat lodges, and improvisation. Northern Europe adored steam cabins. Stack stones in a hearth, heat till glowing, toss water to birth scorching vapor, sit naked on benches, swear eternal friendship, and debate which saint best governs perspiration. Finish by plunging into snow or a river so cold your ancestors shiver retroactively. It worked. Pores opened, grime loosened, gossip flowed. Also handy for curing hips sometimes simultaneously. Irony ensued. Dirty bodies attracted fleas. Fleas spread Yersinia pestis. Fewer baths, more plague. A medieval feedback loop nobody asked for. Eventually, desperation reopened. Tubs, often with sulfur fumes, vinegar rinses, and prayers stapled to the door.
11.
Children, clergy, and cleanliness hierarchy. Kids bathed when visibly crusty or harboring lice colonies the size of Normandy. Midwives recommended warm herbal infusions for infants. Think medieval bubble bath minus bubbles, plus calming sage leaves. Monastic rules mandated regular washing of hands and feet, full bath every fortnight or month, depending on order. Ironically, monks sometimes bathed more than kings, because scriptoria needed sweat-free scribes, not grease-smudged parchment. Kings occasionally justified skipping baths by citing opening pores invites illness, which sounds better than admitting the fire has gone out and nobody wants to haul water at midnight. 12. Etiquette for smelling questionable. Blame the journey. My mule overturned a fish cart. Terrible incident. Invoke piety. I fast from worldly sense. Only humility may linger upon me. Deflect with humor. If roses smelled this rugged, poets would write epics about me. And if all else fails, gift your host a pomander and hope they decode the hint. 13. Medieval shower thoughts. Stand under a cascade. Sure, if you rich enough to have a servant pour jugs from a balcony while you cower below, braced for hypothermia. Shower technology existed in nascent form. Wooden pipes feeding gravity-driven spouts in elite castles, occasionally heated if your staff valued job security. Common folks stuck with bucket dumps, rainstorms, or stepping under waterfalls during pilgrimages. The medieval deodorant starter pack. Sweat itself isn't the villain. Bacteria partying in it is. Medieval biochemists recognized that certain herbs slowed the party, thus the DIY underarm arsenal. Rosemary and sage salt rub. Pound fresh sprigs, mix with coarse salt, pat onto armpits like a medieval steak seasoning. Effective for masking smell, less so for winning hugs. Vinegar sponge bath. Soak linen in wine vinegar. Dab anywhere prone to pong. Acidic tang kills bacteria and friendships simultaneously. Alum dust. Potassium, aluminum sulfate, crystals ground fine. Dab dry, it tightens, pores, and makes skin feel like parchment. Shuts sweat down faster than a cardinal's glare. Marjoram wax balls. Beeswax melted with marjoram oil, rolled into beads, stored in a pouch. Warm between fingers, smear under arms. Early roll-in, minus the roller, and plus a faint beeswax croissant vibe. Poorer folk took the fumigate and pray route. Hang dried lavender bunches near hearth smoke, so clothing absorbed mild floral smog. Think campfire plus grandma's dresser. 2. Linen, the unsung hero. Forget fancy chemistry. Medieval people swore by layering linen. A thin, sweat-wicking shirt sat between skin and heavier wool. You swapped the linen frequently, aired the wool, and external surfaces stayed relatively odor-light. Rich households rotated 2 or 3 linen sets per week. Peasants maybe 1. Laundresses were the real frontline warriors, boiling shifts in lye and scrubbing till knuckles matched raw turnips. Fun fact, in noble inventories, linen counts were flexes. When a duchess bragged of 40 fine chemises stitched with Flanders lace, she basically posted an Instagram closet tour. 3. Sweat etiquette. Medieval courts ran on proximity dancing, feasting, kneeling before lords, so odor diplomacy mattered. Unspoken rules: raise, then praise. If you must lift arms, to compliment your neighbor immediately so they can't focus on fumes. Table placement hierarchy. High-ranking guests sat upwind of kitchens and candle smoke. Low-ranking near drafts, and the luckless near the door, where livestock aromas barged in. Fan language. Silk fans weren't just flirt tools. A swift flick toward one's own face signaled, "My neighbor's musk approacheth critical mass." Send wine or incense stat. Breach etiquette too often, and you earned a whisper campaign nickname like Sir Smolder Arms or Lady Eau de Fief. 4. Barber surgeons, bloodletting, and sterile tools. Need a wart removed or an abscess lanced? Head to the local barber surgeon, recognizable by striped pole and screams inside. Hygiene protocol, passable. If you're a Viking, tool cleansing routine, rinse blade in hot wine or brine, wipe on apron, mutter a prayer to Saints Cosmas and Damien. Alcohol kills germs. Holy words kill anxiety. Reusable bandages boiled in lye between patients unless they were in a hurry, in which case a quick lake dunk would have to do. Barbaries prized speed over asepsis. The less time the wound spent open, the fewer demons could leap in. Amazingly, some patients survived either through luck or robust immune systems curated by years of drinking questionable water. 5. Castle latrines. Throne rooms you never want to visit again. Inside, stone keeps lurked. Garderobes projecting privy chambers with seats overshoot shafts. Waste plummeted straight into the moat or onto friendly hedges below. Did this create a smell halo around castles? Absolutely. Did anyone care? Less than you'd think? Maintenance hacks. Rush floor absorbent. Floors near garderobes sprinkled with dried rushes, mint, and orris root chips to soak drips. Replace weekly or whenever your court jester passed out. Lime flush. Servants tossed quicklime down the chute to speed decay and mute odors. Side effect. Miniature chemical volcano visible from the courtyard. Pigeon brigade. Birds nested on the warm outer ledges, picking flies off the waste flow. Accidental ecosystem service. Medieval people noted fewer insects, so nobody discouraged them until said pigeons left their mark on laundry. Travelers in castles kept sachets of cloves to sniff during, let's say, extended stays on the throne. Early 14th century TripAdvisor would have rated castle bathrooms: great view, questionable splash zone. 6. Public privies, chamber pots, and night soil entrepreneurs. Urban centers lacked underground sewers, so streets relied on cesspits and rakers' night soil collectors who emptied privy refuse under moonlight. Rakers donned waxed leather aprons, waded into pits, shoveled sludge into carts, then sold it to farmers as fertilizer, recycling at its pungent finest. Homeowners without backyards used chamber pots, ceramic, or pewter bowls by the bed. Morning routine: fling contents into alley, or pay a child a penny to dump it farther downstream. Did windows above street level come with drip lips? Yes, sometimes. Architects understood splash physics. 7. Religious ablutions. Cleanliness of the soul. Monastic schedules baked in hygiene cycles. Prime sunrise prayers. Face rinse at cloister fountain. Sext. Midday meal. Obligatory hand wash supervised by cellarer brandishing towel like a banner of sanctity. Saturday bath. Full body soak for Benedictines every fortnight. Carthusians stricter, Cistercians looser. External pilgrims performed ritual washings before entering shrines. Many cathedrals kept lavatorium stone basins fed by spring water channels. Pilgrim with dusty feet. Dunk, drain, repeat. Not quite a power shower, but holier. Islamic influence via Spain brought advanced bathing philosophy. Morisco bathhouses in Andalusia featured sequential rooms. Marble benches and attendants wielding olive oil soap bars like golden tickets. Christian visitors gawked, then copied design, though skeptics muttered it was too sensual. Translation: it felt nice. 8. Women's hygiene, monthly mysteries, and midwife magic. Medieval manuscripts shy away from specifics. But archaeology plus diaries spill tea. Cloth pads. Folded linen squares pinned to underbelt. Washed discreetly in lye water behind cottages. And wool wadding. Rural emergency substitutes, surprisingly absorbent, less surprisingly itchy. Herbal bath post-birth. Midwives brewed mugwort, savory, and salt into postpartum sitz baths to reduce infection. Some added wind therapeutic and hay, celebratory. Women communicated hygiene hacks through female networks, weaving circles, fetch water walks, or covert courtyard chats while beating rugs. Male scribes ignored it, so official records read like. And then mysterious silence until she reappeared, smelling of lavender and resilience. 9. Pest control. Fleas, lice, and the rat race personal pests required multi-front warfare. Combs of bone or boxwood, ultrafine teeth for dragging nits from hair, snap open, check groove for critters, flick into candle flame. Monday night family entertainment. Flea traps. Small cloth packets, stuffed with blood-soaked wool. Hang in bed canopy. Please. Dive in. Feast. Get stuck. And next morning you burn the packet. Budget horror movie. Cat deployment. Castles kept mouser squads. But too many cats equals fleas jump hosts. Cycle continues until a plague or a papal bull against cat worship resets equilibrium. Rat terriers and ferrets assisted in granaries. Their success measured by how few squeaks you heard at midnight. 10. The Water Carrier Guild. Muscled hygienists of the city before plumbing. Professional water carriers hauled wooden yokes with dangling buckets from public wells to households. Fees varied. Rich customers paid extra for first draw morning water. Carriers doubled as neighborhood newslines. They knew who secretly ordered bathtubs worth and who survived weeks on a single pail. Gossip flowed faster than the water. During droughts, city councils rationed by chaining well lids and issuing tokens. Black market water hustlers emerged, filling skins at night and reselling by daylight. Hygiene suffered, perfume sales soared. 11. Medical cleanliness, wound care hackery. While barbers made incisions, wise women and apothecaries specialized in aftercare. Honey poultices. Raw honey spread on bandage, strapped over cuts. Antibacterial, sticky, and irresistible to flies, so layer of linen required. Wine rinses. Surgeons poured warm wine in wounds, citing Galen. Patients cited screaming. Alcohol content disinfected, tannins tasted like regret. Spiderweb compress. Twists cobwebs into pads, press onto gash, swap daily. Downsides. Spider eviction lawsuits. Battlefield surgeons dunked hands in boiling oil between patients, if time allowed. Otherwise, they wiped on grass. Statistically, prayer and boiled oak bark sometimes beat sepsis enough to enshrine it in household lore. 12. Boats, baths, and the floating spa. River barges in Flanders and the Low Countries hosted floating bathhouses, essentially hot tub taverns bobbing on water. Patrons boarded via plank, paid skipper-turned-bathkeeper, soaked under canvas awning, then exited smelling faintly of tar. Advantages: constant water source, easy waste disposal, straight back into river. Disadvantages: seasick scrubbing when the tide turned choppy. 13. Winter hygiene, ice, snow, and creative heat. When fjords froze and village pumps locked solid, Norse communities packed snow into kettles, melted it indoors, then rationed for washing. Saunas compensated. Hours of steam bath followed by snow roll equals cleaner pores plus bragging rights. Central Europe relied on melted roof snow collected in barrel soft water ideal for soap lather. Though occasionally peppered with chimney soot sprinkles, frozen rivers meant fewer swims. Enter dry rub technique. Linen towels brisk-whipped over skin to loosen grime, then dusting of ground iris root. Skin glowed. Goose flesh likewise. 14. The just air it out philosophy, not every odor needed eradication. Some medieval writers urged balance. Physician Bernard de Gordon advised. Expose garments to sweet breezes and sun splendor, and nature shall restore freshness. Translation. Hang your doublet on a line and hope ultraviolet rays nuke bacteria. Sun bleaching also sanitize bed sheets. Spread linen on meadowgrass for a day. Flip at noon, beat with willow switch. Bonus. Neighborhood sheep might nap on it, tatting free lanolin, but subtracting acceptable odor units. Laundry day at Castle Deluxe. When a medieval monarch muttered, "I need fresh linens," an entire microeconomy lurched awake. Cue the laundresses, also called lavanderas, wadwomen, or occasionally those heroes who wrestled the royal skid marks. Workflow in the great court scullery sort and count. Undershirts, bedsheets, ceremonial tabards that weigh more than the average squire. A clerk tallies each item so nobody rehomes. Souvenir pillowcases. Soak cycle. Barrels filled with warm lye water get spiked with bruised. Soapwort stems nature's detergent. Everything steeps overnight until it could pass for medieval miso. Beating in boards. Laundry beaten with paddles on creekside stones by women whose biceps could moonlight as siege engines. Royal gossip spreads faster than soap suds. Rinsing river water downstream of the cemetery? Never. Upstream purity or carried in buckets from a spring blessed by 3 bishops and a passing hermit. Bluing boost. Add a dash of powdered woad or indigo to counteract yellowing. Congratulations, your underpants now glow faintly azure like a pious smurf. Sun-kissed, sterilization, sheets. Laid on clipped lawns or castle ramparts so UV rays and brisk breezes banish bacteria and insecurities. Falconers complain when hawks mistake linens for cloud cover, tinting final rinse with rosemary rose adder, or if treasury overflows, imported damask water from Damascus at liquid gold prices. Your bedsheets now smell like a crusader's fever dream. Royal accounts record staggering soap budget saidward. The fourth spent enough on Castile soap in one spring to bankroll a minor naval raid, yet he never washed his own shirt. Delegation, the truest mark of power. 2. The perfumed water renaissance by the 14th-15th centuries. Italian city-states pioneered aqua-profumed waters brewed by apothecaries who doubled as protochemists. Florence, Venice, and Naples competed in an all-factory arms race.
Always.
Nobles splashed scented water on everything short of tax ledgers. Greatest hits of Italian bathing blends. Acqua di Fiori d'Arancio, distilled blossoms plus grape spirit, smelled like spring weddings and citrus-zested repentance. Acqua di Rosa and Alloro, rose petals, bay leaves, and a whisper of clove. Historians believe this was the signature scent of Lucretia Borgia's bathhouse. Enemies said it masked arsenic jealousy as pungent. Limoncello, Verde. A Sicilian export lemon peel, mint, and sugar spirit. Noble teens chugged it when wine cellars were locked. Hangovers included gleaming breath. Bath ritual instructions from a 1495 Neapolitan household manual. Heat water until the steam greets the virgin. Then add 1 cup orange flower distillate, ½ cup honey, and 5 drops goat milk for softness. Enter tub with prayers. Exit smelling as though angels juiced a citrus grove upon thy shoulders. Result. Bathroom sticky, bees ecstatic, but you emerged glowing like a candied cherub. 3. Mouthwash of the ages dental hygiene for the wealthy pivoted from charcoal powder to liquid rinses equal parts cure and dare. We've recovered recipes. Let's read them so you don't have to try them. The clove wine gargle. Red wine, crushed cloves, pinch of alum, gargle 10 heartbeats, spit, cloves numb gums, lum tightens cheeks until you resemble a disciplined chipmunk. Vinegar salt zing cider vinegar warmed with sea salt and a sprig of sage, promises breath of purity, delivers enamel erosion if abused. good for loosening planktonic tartar in friendships. Dragonfire rinse. Equal parts brandy, ground cinnamon, and powdered mustard seed. Burns like Judgment Day. Supposedly kills toothworms. As modern science says there were no worms. Just cavities, but tell that to a duke in agony. Frankincense milk, goat milk, infused with powdered frankincense resin. Shake until frothy, swish gently. Leaves teeth coated in resinous film. Your smile smells like a cathedral at Christmas. Practitioners insisted on finishing with parsley chewing to bright green any stubborn plaque. Flex a medieval TikTok whitening hack. For high-status fingernails and manicure weaponry, long immaculate nails indicated you'd never touched a plow. Courts stretched this flex. Italian gentlemen in Milan hired manicure pages armed with tiny daggers called sfiletti to scrape grime from under nails while debating Petrarch. Ladies used ivory sticks tipped with suede to buff nails and tinted them pale pink using crushed rose petals mixed with egg white and edible polish if dinner ran late. Nail hygiene toolbox. Bone pick. Dual-ended scoop and pick. Also handy for prying gemstone seals out of fellow courtiers' wax letters. Pumice stone. Volcanic lava shards imported from Sicily. Filed calluses, shined nails, and doubled as conversational paperweight. Civet. Oil balm. Yes, from musk glands. Massaged into cuticles. Smell lingered like existential dread but kept skin supple. Peasant nails, clipped with sheep shear tips, or chewed to oblivion during sermons. 5 aqueducts, conduits, and bucket brigades. Urban hygiene improvements partially arrived via water infrastructure. By late medieval period, London's great conduit, lead pipes carried spring water to public fountains. Twice weekly, sheriffs flushed channels with surplus ale, part sanitation, part civic happy hour. Avignon's cardinal fountains. PayPal engineers tapped mountain springs through terracotta pipes. Locals credited clear water for fewer fevers. Skeptics pointed to the Pope's private physician, carrying lime buckets full of leeches. Nuremberg drilled wells. 400-plus foot shafts bored through limestone. Water pure, buckets heavy. Townsfolk's shoulder muscles envied by crossbowmen. Still, pipes reached squares, not houses. Enter bucket brigades. Children, servants, and entrepreneurial cripples, earning coin, hauling sloshing yokes up spiral staircases. Spillage percentage, classified. 6. Traveling and the portable hygiene kit nights on campaign carried necessaries in saddlebags. Soap nut satchel, dried sapindus berries from India via trade routes. Crack, add water, bubble mildly. Smelled like herbal laundry day. Mini strigil. Bronze scraper to shed sweat plus dirt after sparring. Wipe on grass, repeat. Bottle of cologne, rosemary, citrus, Neuralian grape spirit. Splash on face, armor, or inside helmet scrolls. Claim it banished foul vapors and faintness of mind. Spare hose. Sweaty legwear changed daily to prevent saddle boil casualties. When inns lacked baths, travelers hired bath maids to heat water in copper pots and pour over them seated on wooden slats. Prototype shower. Drains the courtyard, the stable trench, or behind that hedge, good sir. 7. Herbal steam and sinus salvation colds and catarrh-plagued drafty halls. Remedies favored herbal steam tents. Frame hula hoop of willow rods over a chair. Cauldron. Boiling mix of thyme, eucalyptus, and chamomile. Tarp thick linen draped overhead plus pot to form sauna bubble. Process. Breathe until sweat springs. Blow nose. Exit reborn or dizzy. Some households added juniper berries antiseptic and claimed it kept plague at bay. Others used wormwood to expel evil humors, though guests complained it smelled like depressed celery. 8. Surgical cleanliness. The upgrade by the late 1400s. Academically trained physicians began advocating wine spirits sterilization. Boil iron tools, then dip in 40% aquavita. Clean patient's wound with same spirit double duty as anesthetic. Deliverer of bravery and local fire hazard. Cover incision with linen soaked in egg white plus rose oil to form semi-waterproof bandage. Mortality rates fell. Slightly. Enough that barber surgeons counterfeit coped the method. Now with extra spirits. 9. Spice trade and odor economics. Every whiff of medieval cleanliness touched the spice roots. cinnamon-masked rotten meat, but also sweaty clergy.
Nutmeg.
Imported from the Banda Islands, cost a month's wages, yet flavored breath lozenges for Venetian courtesans. Cardamom ground into armpit paste for Persian ambassadors, exotic musk that made European lords clutch scapulars. Prices spiked during wars. Nobles either diluted fragrances with cheap local herbs, or, scandalously, decided to bathe more often. Markets panicked. 10 children's bath games, nannies floated orange peels as boats, recited saints' lives, and bet the child he couldn't stay still till the martyrdom ended. Winner got honey cake. Loser still washed. Some households dyed water with harmless woad so the bath looked like sapphire. Kids bragged they'd soaked in the sea. Fleas fled in confusion. 11. Myth-busting corner. A bath opens, pours to plague. Yes, certain physicians claimed warm baths invited disease. No. But others, like Italian Professor Gentile da Fileno, countered. Filth blocks pores, miasma, and thus kills you slower but nastier. Court split into pro-bath faction and anti-bath faction. Statistically, plague didn't care. Fleas voted bipartisan. 12. Clothing as climate control. Hygienists taught dress to sweat less. Layers trap odor, but also regulate heat. Summer. Linen kamesha plus lightweight silk surcoat. Silk, naturally antibacterial. Plus it whispers affluent. Winter, linen, wool, for yes, smelly, but freeze, off limbs smell worse. Ounce of civet, on fur collar, mitigated doom. Athletic bouts. Shirts changed thrice in jousting tournaments. Squires waved them like victory flags of perspiration. 13. The court incense blitz. When banquet rooms threatened nasal collapse, stewards deployed thuribles, swinging censers stuffed with frankincense, myrrh, and juniper shavings. Smoke curled through rafters, covering garlic breath and fish day funk. Downside. Asthmatic minstrels wheezed through lutes. Upside. Tapestry moths perished. Papal legates favored ambergris palettes. Palettes whale vomit. Resin burnt on mica plates. Cost astronomical. Smell amber sweet. Ocean musk, that said. Our piety includes luxury you can't afford. 14. Menantha Street survival hacks. Peasant diaries list everyday tricks. Stinging nettle foot bath. Soak tired feet. Nettles stimulate blood, kill fungus, provide conversation when screaming. Ash tooth rinse. Clean ash from hearth, mix with dew, swish. Whitening level. Toothpaste commercial filmed in grayscale. Moonlight garment purge. Hang cloak overnight. So dew lifts odors, then brush at dawn. Early fabric softener. Admonis lavender fields. Plus goat droppings. Norse hygiene. More groomed than their PR team admits. Forget the mud-splattered barbarian. Scandinavian sagas flex non-stop about clean hair, sharp clothes, and dazzling smiles. Show up at the thing looking crusty and you'd be mocked like a goat on ice. Weekly bath tradition. Norse lore coins the term Laugardug Bath Day, ancestor of modern Saturday in several languages. Every weekend, families fired up turf-roofed sweat huts. Dig a pit, fill with river rocks. Blaze a wood inferno until rocks glow. Douse flames. Throw water. Unleash choking steam. Strip sit. Sweat out ailsins while chanting about Thor's armpits. After sweating, you sprint into a fjord or snowbank instant. Poor closing. Plus, a squeal that echoes to Valhalla. Shipboard clean routine long voyages posed funk risks. Vikings packed. Birch tar soap cakes. Birch pitch boiled with animal fat scented with juniper. Doubled as waterproofing for boots. Wooden combs. Fine tuft. Ornately carved. Tucked into belt pouches. Excavations show they're the single most common personal item after knives. Priorities. Groom stab groom again. Ear spoons and nail picks. Bronze kits dangling from brooches. Keep wax and dirt at bay. Impress plundered continents with sparkling cuticles. Beard beads, bronze or amber cylinders sliding up braids, keeping whiskers orderly when salty wind tried free-range styling. Crews established wash watch. 2 men heaved seawater aboard in buckets before dawn so everyone could splash down decks, scrub faces, rinse clothes tied to oars. Ocean laundry early, rating later time management 101. Fragrance hacks, angelica leaf rub down, crush leaves, smear on skin. Strong herbal scent plus mild antibacterial oils, chewing sweet gale. freshens breath, discourages mosquitoes, doubles as mild hallucinogen if you chew enough. Grooming and social status. Saga insults often attack hygiene. Calling someone HFI is fighting words. Marriage is organized around who smelled least like dried fish. It's also thralls were forced to wash masters' clothing in icy streams. Efficiency meets oppression. 2. Viking dental brilliance. Archaeologists found Norse skulls with horizontal filing marks in front, teeth possibly pigment inlays. Imagine blue or red stripes flashing when you grin across a trading table. Dental swagger aside, maintenance involved. Chew sticks of birch or willow, frayed end equals brush. Bark xylitol fights cavities before modern dentists trademark it. Charcoal and salt rub. Dip twig, scrub enamel, abrasive but effective. Occasional chip considered a battle scar. And yes, breath mints existed. Dried apple slices spiked with caraway seeds. Shipmates not only survived, they wrote poetry about each other's sweet speech. 3. Sauna says diplomacy when rival chieftains negotiated land. They sometimes sweated together first. Stripped titles, stripped clothes talk terms while dripping. Whoever lasted longest in the heat proved endurance and allegedly honesty, or at least stubbornness. Outcome. Treaties sealed, toxins purged, egos steamed soft. 4. The Ottoman hammam, silk. Steam and social capital. Fast forward southeast to the 14-16th century Ottoman Empire where bathing wasn't weekly penance but daily civic theater. Hammam. Layout came in. Cooling courtyard, domed atrium with marble fountain. Lockers and sofas for pre-soaked tea gossip. So clock warm room, temperature rise. Pores negotiate surrender. Haret, hot core hexagonal marble slab called Gegektasi bellystone heated from below. You sprawl like lazy dough. Attendants wield keys midst to scrub dead skin until you question every life choice that led here. Illic, BLM intermediate, lukewarm, rinse basins. Lavender soap, optional scalp massage if you're not already. A puddle, cooling chamber, lemon sherbet, fruit, backgammon. Universal agreement you have transcended mortal coil. Soap science Ottoman artisans perfected olive oil plus soda ash bars, impregnated with damask rose or black cumin. Lather density measured in Ottoman cubits. Citation needed. Soap makers belonged to guilds. Quality control involved public ceremonies where novice bars were shaved in half to prove even curing. The keys. Exfoliation glove woven of silk or camel. Hair, therapist telex scrapes and short strokes. Gray noodles of skin roll off. Patrons laugh, weep, depending on epidermis thickness. Afterwards, you're pinker than newborn lamb, softer than scandal whispers. Gendered timetables, men and women bathed in separate shifts or separate buildings. For women, hammams doubled as matchmaking bazaars. Mothers examined potential brides, hair shine and elbow polish. Marriage alliances sealed over mango sherbet and joint loofah aggression. Health and spiritual legitimacy, Islamic ritual ablution, wudu, expects cleanliness before prayer. Imams extended that to full body peer-to-body. As temple meets empire as spa franchise, physicians touted steam for humoral balance. Sufi poets saw it as ego-melting metaphor. Either way, you left glowing 5. European reactions. Shock, awe, and rapid copycatting. Crusaders stumbled into Levantan bathhouses, expecting dens of vice, found organized soap science instead. Letters home read. Dear mother, Saracens wash every day sometimes. Twice, my companions fear this may grant them witch-proof skin. Back in Europe, knights bragged about Eastern luxury, then begged masons to imitate domes. Spain's former Moorish territories already had Beras Arabs. Soon, even Prague built steam rooms nicknamed Turk Towers. Church leaders alternated between branding them decadent and sneaking in incognito. 6. Hammam. Etiquette for the averagely nervous visitor: bring wooden clogs. Nail in marble is lava hot. Except the slap. Masseur's finale. Forearm thwack. Across shoulders, symbolic reboot of humors, and ego. Tip in silver. Not copper. Copper implies you think the scrub was subpar. Silver earns you extra rose water splash. Don't cannonball into basins, that's just rude. 7. Soap wars. And market monopoly, 16th century Aleppo's laurel oil soap dominated export lanes. Venice imposed tariffs, claiming inferior European. Soap deserves a chance. A decades-long lather tariff fight ensued. Smugglers stuffed ship keels with contraband soap bricks. Customs officials followed scent trails like bloodhounds. 8. Tooth care. Istanbul-style court physicians devised miswak, club-stewing sticks of Salvadora persica, wood-promoting fluoride-esque ions. Topkapi Palace issued perfumed miswak cases of mother of pearl. Grand viziers debated cinnamon versus clove topping. Sultans solved it by using both because empire perks. Powdered coral polish, finer than Viking charcoal, mixed with sugar to soften bite. Courtesans licked fingertips, dabbed powder, and buffed incisors until they reflected candlelight and flattery alike. 9. Hair removal and scent rituals. Ottoman beauty manual Sabias. CI recommends Rusash, depilatory paste, lime, orpiment, chickpea, flour. Spread on legs. Wait 10 minutes. Scream mildly. Rinse. Silk emerges. Afterwards, slather amber-oiled tree resin from Baltic trade. 2 perfume follicles. Men trimmed beards with silver scissors, then smoked them over aloes wood chips. Scent bonded to hair fiber, announcing wealth to courtyards away. 10. Plague protocol in steam world. When Black Death revisited 16th century Istanbul, Hammam stayed open, but added rules. Separate plague district hours, extra vinegar rinses, incense fumigation between groups. Some doctors blamed bathing too hot, others bathing too little. As usual, fleas enjoyed the debate buffet. .11. Cross-cultural bath diplomacy, 1570. English ambassador. William Harborne invited to Ottoman bath with high officials. He misread custom, wore full linen drawers into hot room. Linen shrank. He fainted. After rescue, humor thought treaty signed next week. Moral: lose drawers, gain trade deals. .12. The Viking Hammam hybrid fantasy, almost, but not quite. Legend claims Varangian guards Norse mercenaries in Byzantium mixed Viking sauna habits with Greek bathhouses, hot room, cold plunge, then olive oil slick wrestling. Source is thin, but Byzantine chamberlains complained carpets soaked with northern sweat and eastern perfumes. Take that as you will. DIY hammam at home if your reckless seal bathroom vents with damp towels. Run hottest shower 10 minute. Sit. On stool. Contemplate renter's insurance. Scrub with coarse mitt until skin noodles form. Douse in cold water from salad bowl. Allah. Mop ceiling, email landlord confession. Recommended alternative, buy a scented candle. Pretend 15. Wrap up steam cloud weave, witnessed Vikings out combing Instagram influencers and Ottomans, turning bath time into a national identity. Cleanliness, it turns out, is less a linear march and more a braided river, different streams of culture, climate and commerce washing over each other. Norsemen shaved with broken mint, ice shards but still rocked minted breath. Sultans used rose soap. More expensive than some castles. Europeans borrowed everything, complained, then charged admission. China's Tanira tub lifes, Fen century. Chang'an modern Xi'an was less ancient austerity and more cosmopolitan theme park. Traders, poets, monks, questionable street magicians crowded its avenues, and they all wanted to wash off the dust of the Silk Road. Public bathhouses, or yuguan, dotted every ward. A typical routine: check your shoes with an attendant wielding a bamboo tally stick. Lose the tally. Walk home barefoot, no refunds. Enter a cedar-paneled locker hall where steam hisses through floor grates. Fed by underground furnaces stoked with coal and old exam scrolls. Hand your towel thin hemp embroidered with peach blossoms. If you're fancy, to a clerk who drops it in warm chrysanthemum, water so it smells like early spring. Step into the Wintang warm hall first to coax body temperature toward dumpling status. Then slide into the Retang hot hall, where a pool bubbles at dragon statute spouts. Soap here meant Zalfina rice bran powder, mixed with bean flour and scented with powdered clove. Patrons rubbed handfuls over skin until paste sloughed away grime. Imperial court ladies added ground pearl for shimmer. Economists sighed as literal money went down the drain, sparkling. After the scalding soak came the lang-tang cold plunge. A marble pit fed by mountain spring water so frigid it made even hardened generals squeal like bamboo flutes. Physicians praised the contrast method for moving the key. Patrons mostly praised it for jolting them awake enough to navigate. Chang'an Nightlife. 2. Scholar gentry grooming. When calligraphy meets conditioner, Tang literati obsessed over hair. Long glossy cues signaled moral cultivation, so scholars. Spent mornings brewing, he show woo and tea seed shampoo in bronze kettles, steeped vine-coated roots, strained the liquid through silk, and massaged it in until locks shone darker than a midnight ink stick. Combing was ritual. Ivory comb in right hand, poem in left, draw 9 slow strokes while reciting the first lines of Spring Dawn. If a tangle resisted, quote a verse about life's obstacles, then yank. Culture plus grooming, multitasking like a pro. 3. Court. Protocol for incense baths. Emperor Xuanzong's palace manual. Instructed concubines to bathe in rotating scents. Monday. Lotus root milk for tranquil elegance. Tuesday. Osmanthus blossom water for lingering sweetness. Wednesday. Sandalwood and saffron to soften melancholy. Thursday to Saturday repeated with seasonal tweaks. Lychee in summer, plum blossom in winter. Bath water drained through. Silver pipes into palace gardens, where eunuchs used it to fertilize peonies. Imperial recycling at its perfumed peak. 4. Soap as Silk Road currency. Caravans trekking west carried crates of compressed Xinjiang soap bricks. Goat tallow, walnut, oil, and desert salt boiled down, stamped with the governor's seal, then dried to stone hardness. 1 brick equaled a bolt of mid-grade silk or 2 live goats, dependent on dust storm inflation. Tales tell of a Kashgar trader who paid Mongol toll guards exclusively in soap. Weeks later, the guards, addicted to daily scrubbing, refused bribes. Of silver, because silver won't keep horse smell off my wife's pillows. Soap had become power. 5. Laos wars on the Gansu corridor had lice. Loved wool hats inside camel caravans. Merchants fought back with camphor dust sprinkled in turban folds. Night camps glowed with tiny blue flames as traders burned captured lice, in spoonfuls of lamp oil light and pest control in one flick. 6. Buddhist monks and the purification mandate. Chan monasteries enforced thrice-weekly baths. Novice monks fetched water from mountain streams before dawn, chanting sutras so loudly that local leopards considered converting. Bathhouses were simple. Pine huts over bubbling boilers. Soap consisted of crushed ash gourd seeds. Towels were sun-bleached hemp. Monks shaved heads not only for humility, but to dodge lice and make. Weekly rinses. Quicker efficiency as enlightenment. Visitors joked a monk could finish bathing before a Confucian finished untangling his topknot. 7. Enter the Mughals' perfume. Power and marble steam. 16th century northern India saw the rise of Mughal hammams, inspired by Persian tech, but dialed to monsoon humidity and sandalwood budgets that could bankrupt Venice. Inside Agra Fort, Emperor Akbar installed a bath wing carved from white marble inlaid with lapis lazuli vines. Steam channels ran beneath the floor, fed by mango wood fires that left a faint sweet scent. Attendants sprinkled the slabs with rose water, so every step released fragrance. Like a botanical whoopee cushion, the emperor favored a scrub paste of chickpea flour, turmeric, and crushed neem leaves. It gifted a golden glow and doubled as insect repellent, handy during elephant parades. Courtiers teased that Akbar smelled like a spice bazaar after rain. Akbar countered by raising taxes on anyone who deemed on 8. Henna hair and hookah breaks. Mughal ladies spent entire afternoons in Zanana hammams. After a steam session, they applied henna to hair and fingertips. Waiting for the dye to set, they lounged on tick benches, trading verses from Persian love poetry and gossip about which prince collapsed in yesterday's polo match. Henna rinsed, hair perfumed with attar of campa flowers, so heady courtiers claimed one whiff could ignite romantic scandal. Whether fake news or not, births 9 months later spiked whenever champa shipments arrived. Point 9. Sandalwood. Soap economic southern Indian kingdoms controlled sandalwood forests. They distilled oil, blended it with ghee and pomash lye, molded cakes, and stamped royal elephants on top. Caravans guarded the cargo like relics. Sandalwood fetched triple the price of pepper and never spoiled. One document from 1624 records a Portuguese captain buying safe passage through Deccan territory. With 50 cakes of the king's soap, the guard captain sniffed one cake, declared the treaty fragrant enough, and waved the ship inland. 10. Ayurvedic bath. The science texts like the Sushruta Samhita list bathing as essential for dosha balance. Ideal sequence: drink warm water with ginger. To stoke the inner fire, massage body with sesame oil until joints. Feel looser than a court dancer's metaphors. Enter steam box, basically a wooden cabinet with your head poking out. Where decoctions of eucalyptus, vetiver, and holy basil hiss beneath. Scrub with lentil flower soap to remove oil and dead skin. Rinse in tepid water infused with rose petals. Dawn, then stand in morning sun until you are dry as a saint's vows. Doctors warned against hot baths. After heavy meals, comparing it to pouring water on an overstoked furnace. Translation: puke risk. Commoners shrugged and bathed anyway because spicy curry waits for no man. 11. Tooth powder. Showdown. India edition Mughal physician Hakim Ali Jalani recommended a dentifrice of burnt almond husk, rock salt, and dried rose leaves. Chew, then spit. To reveal a smile described as dawn on marble. Downside: almond ash collects in beard crumbs, portable snack, or social faux pas. Depending, street vendors hawked mystery crystals, rock sugar-coated in peppermint oil as breath fresheners. Suck one, and your exhale could fell mosquitoes in a 3-foot radius. 12. Silk Road. Veterinary hygiene because camels deserve spa days. To camel drivers, believed a clean camel spit less. At oasis stops, they led beasts into shallow ponds, scrubbed humps with date palm fiber, then smeared a paste of mud and mint to cool skin and repel flies. Merchants joked the animals smelled better than their owners by mile 10. 13. Cross-cultural. Bath diplomacy redux when Chinese envoy Chen Chang reached Samarkand in 1414. Timur's grandson welcomed him with a royal bath ceremony. Chen wrote that Uzbek soap smelled of sheep milk and violet, and that attendants sang Turkic folk songs while scrubbing diplomats' backs. Treaty negotiations afterward went swimmingly, proving warm water and polite lather could trump language barriers. 14. Soap con men. Caravan edition. Wherever soap was currency, fakes followed. Unscrupulous traders molded bars of hardened animal fat, coated with a thin shell of scented olive oil. Test: stab a hot needle. If interior oozed rancid goo, the bar was counterfeit. Punishment in Bukhara market. Offender dunked headfirst in dye vat for a day new hair color. New career prospects. West Africa's lather legacy. From gold dust to black. So privers as runways when travelers reached the Sahelages of the Mali and later Songhai empires, they reported something shocking. People actually bathed daily in the Niger or its tributaries. Sunbaked dust demanded rinsing. The crocodiles minded their own business if you respected personal space. Bathers turned the riverbank into a social feed, women chatting while scrubbing calabash bowls, griots rehearsing epics between splashes, toddlers learning to swim by clinging to goat bladders inflated like pool floaties, the rise of O's doo-doo. African black soap local chemisophin women of Yoruba. Mandan or Akan communities perfected a soap that still rules skincare blogs. Mix plantain peel ash, roasted cocoa pod husk, and palm kernel oil. Stir until the slurry darkens to midnight. Result: a bar that foams like latte crema, smells faintly of earth after rain, and annihilates sweat bacteria without stripping melanin pride. Merchants packed smoked fish one side of a camel, black soap, bricks the other, whichever arrived fresher sold first. Shea butter. Moisturizer plus mosquito shield plus status symbol she nut processor's arms, like pestles boiled. Pounded and churned nuts into an ivory paste so rich it could bribe a djinn. Slathered after bathing, It sealed moisture, healed spear nicks, and repelled flies better than incantations. Nobles in Timbuktu scented premium batches with frankincense oil imported across the Sahara. Poorer herdsmen just enjoyed smelling nicer than their goats. Latrine logistics, Savannah edition clay brick compounds, hid household pits lined with woven reed mats. When they filled, families hosted a night soil feast. Neighbors helped cap the pit with fresh mud in exchange for millet beer. Party where everyone literally buried the problem. Hair care is clan signature twarg. Men washed indigo-dyed. Turbans weekly with desert sand and soapberry foam, then beat the cloth on flat stones in echoes that could time camel caravans. Fulani women massaged red ochre and sheen into braids so intricately stacked that merchants claimed you could read marital status, dowry value and spice inventory by hairstyle alone. Dandruff had no chance. Point 2. Sweat, clay, and copal smoke. Bathing. In pre-Columbian Mesoamericantor, the Temescal Maya and Aztec sweat lodge supreme picture a beehive-shaped adobe igloo. Aced. A priestess piles volcanic stones in a central pit, fires them until they glow, then shuts the single doorway with a woven mat. You crawl in, hunched like contrition, personified. Water infused with crushed basil, cacao blossom, and sometimes pulque, splashes over stone swishes steam, envelops you, thick as God's breath. Pores flip open, sins ooze out, and you debate every tortilla you ever over-ate. Maya midwives used tomascals to speed postpartum healing. Warriors steamed pre-battle to focus intent. Nobles hosted matchmaking sweats where parents scrutinized how politely suitors handled near-naked awkwardness. Pro tip: don't hog the cool water gourd. Soaproot and agave, nature's body wash. Soaps were literal roots. Strip bark from the amali. Soap plant, pound it, mix with water, and bubbles appear like sorcery. Agave fiber brushes doubled as back scrubbers, and dental floss if strands frayed thin enough. Copal is medieval. Febreze copal resentry tears hardened by sun was tossed on braziers outside homes at dusk. Smoke-wrapped courtyards in a citrus spine. Aura that spooked mosquitoes and pleased rain gods. Visiting Spaniards claimed whole neighborhoods smelled like cathedral incense minus the gilt. Tooth polish. Courtesy of Sanat, minerals limestone, Sanat's leached calcium chunks. Ground with charcoal and minty excatic chili seeds, they formed a tooth powder equal parts sparkle and dare. One enthusiastic bishop tried it, screamed, then admitted his mouth felt cleaner than Easter vestments. Public hygiene policy, Tlatoani. Decrees Aztec rulers passed ordinances, fining households whose street front drains smelled offensive. Fines payable in cacao beans. Civic pride plus chocolate economy, genius. Point 3, Andean altitude aesthetics, cold streams and hot springs of Tawantin's Huhail. Temescals smoked. The Inca engineered plumbing 3 miles above sea level. Cusco palaces got water through stone channels so precisely angled modern lasers weep with envy. Nobles bathed in courtyards under open sky, using quinoa sapinan suds and eucalyptus leaves imported over Andean passes. Cold? Always? Character building? Absolutely. Porters on the Inca road system carried travel bath kits, a carved gourd scoop, sachets of ground soap root, and a llama wool towel that doubled as altitude blanket. Altitude. Military checkpoints included bath huts commanders, new clean soldiers. Trek farther before mutiny. 4. Snow on brows, steam in bones. Inu and northern Japanese hygiene hot spring nation. Prions and Bume Island samurai loved hot springs. But up north in Izo Hokkaido, the indigenous Ainu blended geothermal dips with bear worship long before. Tourism slogans. Village men dug shallow pools beside sulfur vents. Women lined them with hinoki bark. Families soaked together after salmon harvests, chanting thanks to kami hawks overhead. Winter ritual. Roll in snow until skin numbs. Sprint to spring, plunge with a howl that bounced off cedar trunks. Outsiders assumed madness. Insiders called it resetting the soul thermostat. Birch bark shampoo and fish oil conditioner. Inu hunters simmered birch bark chips. Tannins cleansed scalp and left woodsy perfume. For shine, they warmed seal or salmon oil with mountain ash berries. Massaged a few drops through hair, then braided feathers at temples. Snow slid off like disappointment off a cat. Tattoo aftercare equals hygiene discipline, women's mouth edge. Tattoos required constant washing with yarrow flower tea to prevent infection. Result: some of the strictest facial clean routines of any medieval. Culture toner before toners were cool. Toilet tactics and frozen ground permafrost laughs at pit latrines.
Aye.
So waste buckets lined with spruce needles were carried daily to a distant ash pit where it quickly froze into what traders nicknamed caribou kibble. Come spring thaw, communal work parties burned and buried it under fresh silt. Mosquitoes disapproved. 5. Cross-continental soapbox. What unites these sudsy civilizations? River or spring nearby? Turn it into social HQ.ash or lie plus fad or plant? Sapanin equals universal fellowship of foam. Fragrance doubles as bug spray. Spiritual offering and humble brag. Communal sweating weather-clayed dome. Pine hut or stone bath builds. Alliances faster than any treaty parchment. And everywhere. From Shabooter artisans to Inu tattoo caretakers. Cleanliness piggybacked on care. For body, clan, landscape. Even deities who allegedly peeked at your scrub-dash technique. 6. Closing Rins West Africa taught us that soap can be gold, literal or metaphorical. The Maya reminded us a steam lodge makes an excellent confessional. Ainu Springs proved snow is best enjoyed with a geothermal chaser. Across 3 continents, medieval people spent prodigious labor, ingenuity, and poetry on the simple act of washing. They didn't have pH balanced body wash or influencer discount codes. They had roots, rocks, ritual, and, by most traveler accounts, they smelled pretty glorious. A whiff of rebirth. The Renaissance wasn't just oil paints and perspective grids. It was an olfactory revolution. Cities like Florence, Venice, and Grasse discovered that smelling amazing could win wars, woo popes, and occasionally mask a dead rat in the gutter. Art flourished. Science peeked from behind the church pew, and everyone got extremely invested in how they and their doublets smelled. Strap on a scented velvet mask, because plague season never really clocked out. And let's tour the glamour and grime of 15th to 17th century. Europe 1. From alchemy to art, the apothecary's aromatic arsenal walk into a Florentine Speziales shop. Rows of blue and white Majolica jars line walnut shelves, each labeled in looping scriptros: attar, benzoin, civet paste, ambergris, musk of Moscow. Dier could seduce a marble statue. Behind the counter, an apothecary in ink splotched. Sleeves grind spices with the fervor of a friar copying Dante. His bestseller? Aqua Mirabiles, miracle water, a heady brew of rosemary, lemon zest, lavender, and grape spirit. Rumored to keep plague vapors at bay and ensure smooth dialogue with in-laws. Distillation technology, imported via Arabic texts and perfected. In Italian still houses, meant alcohol levels now soared high enough to ignite eyebrows. Perfume recipes left the medicinal shelf and marched straight into boudoirs and court. Wardrobes. 2. Catherine de' Medici and the glove that launched 1,000 sniff swin. Teenage Catherine left Florence in 1533 to marry France's Prince Henry. She refused to abandon her home city's perfumery flex. She smuggled personal scent wizard Renato Bianco, soon rebranded René La Florentin, across the Alps. Within months, the French court reeked divinely of Florentine blends. Catherine's masterstroke: perfume leather gloves, kidskin, tanned in alum, then steeped for weeks in a vat of iris root, orange blossom, and a suspicious hint of civet. When Henry's political rivals met him, they shook hands and subsequently sniffed their own palms like starstruck hounds. The fad exploded. By the 1560s, Grasse transformed from a goatskin tannery town into Europe's parfum capital. All because one Italian teenager didn't want to smell like wet cow. Glove diplomacy worked. Ambassadors begged for sample pairs, alliances sweetened, and Catherine quietly steered French foreign policy while clipping rose petals into copper stills. 3. The plague doctor's beak, fashion, or filter. Black Death kept popping back like an unwanted sequel. And by the 17th century, Venetian physicians decided, if we can't cure it, we'll accessorize. Hence the beaked masks stuffed with strong aromatics, myrrh, mint, cloves, camphor. Sometimes a desperate scribble of garlic jammed in the tip. The theory, foul smells spread plague miasma. Good smells countered foul smells. Therefore, parade through infected alleys smelling like an herb garden on fire, and you might just dodge the reaper. The beak became an early air filter, though modern tests suggest it worked only in convincing. Patience the doctor was an exotic bird. Still, records show plague doctors who swapped camphor for cheap. Sawdust caught the disease faster, so maybe aromatic bravado bought them a little time. While physicians strutted in bird cosplay, ordinary. Households fought pestilence by burning vinegar-soaked sponges over coal braziers. Windows stayed shut, perfume smoke pooled against ceilings, and everyone emerged woozy, but pleased the house smelled of pickled salad instead of impending doom. 4. Pomander. Power plays before pocket hand sanitizer was a twinkle in chemistries. People toted pomanders, orb-shaped lockets of pierced silver or carved wood, crammed with an aromatic mud of ambergris, musk, storax, cinnamon, and wax. Queens wore grapefruit-sized spheres on gold chains. Merchants tucked walnut-sized versions in belts. Nuns clutched wooden beads infused with frankincense as spiritual deodorant. Recipe highlight: powder equal parts clove, nutmeg, sandalwood, and benzoin. Add honey until paste forms. Work in grated citrus peel. Then fold in shavings of ambergris. Aged in the bishop's wine cellar. Knead while reciting the miserere for antibacterial vibes. Seal inside silver. Polish and swing under nostrils whenever sewer fumes ambush. Pomanders doubled as social cues. A quick flourish near someone's nose could either save them from stench or hint, sir, you offend. Navigating that etiquette was practically an Olympic sport. 5. The first celebrity soap endorsement, Tanterbraccio. Catherine de' Medici's prize greyhound. According to court chroniclers, the hound once lapped from a basin of scented Castile soap shavings and emerged gleaming, its fur smelling like rosemary and bergamot. Catherine allegedly joked, "Even my dog bathes better than half the courtiers." René La Florentin seized the marketing coup. He stamped soap cakes with a leaping greyhound silhouette and called them Savon du Levrier. Nobles bought them by the crate to prove they could wash as elegantly as a royal pet. Sales soared. Greyhound ownership spiked. Court barbers complained of finding more dog hair than human on their floors. The phenomenon birthed an industry. Branded soaps shaped like swans, dolphins, cherubs, all suggesting that if animals of myth smelled nice, so could you.
Oh.
The church frowned at vanity. Merchants grinned at profit. Vanity won. 6. Street-level stink management. Renaissance cities still wrestled medieval sanitation. Chamber pots flew from windows, albeit now with a mumbled pardon. Moise. Civic councils tried innovations. Venice hired gondoliers at dawn to ladle canal scum into barges and dump it beyond the lagoon. Local fishermen dubbed the boat Il Puzzoni, the stinker. Paris mandated no-throw hours between 8 and 10 a.m., so morning commuters might dodge airborne sewage. Violation meant a fine and perfumed gloves, literally surrendering your scented status. Symbol 2 authorities. London experimented with perfumed pitch torches lining Cheapside. They masked tanneries for about 20 minutes, then smelled like scorched nutmeg still. Tourists loved it. 7. Teeth like porcelain. If porcelain's new Europe finally discovered. Chinese porcelain and instantly wanted matching teeth. Italian barber surgeons offered bicarbonate of soda and sage ash scrubs. Spanish ladies chewed cinnamon bark, dipped in honey to coat enamel with a golden sheen visible by candlelight. Over-enthusiastic scrubbers sometimes abraded gums until smiles resembled strawberry tiramisu, but compliments flowed until blood did. Breath, meanwhile, got the lozenge treatment. Pastilles of mastic gum, powdered licorice, and sugar. Pop one before poetry recitals. Impress patrons with your minty metaphors.